tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Oh oh. Because the girl them broke out on the floor. From you don't wanna work this performer. From you don't want a man where can't turn you on. Girl, make I see you when them upon ya. Can't stand for the long, nah eat no yam, no steamed fish, no green banana. But down in Jamaica,
Good night. Good night, St. Martin, and welcome to your favorite online internet program, www.SXMTalk.com. And we welcome each and every one of you here. Call a friend, call someone, and tell them to log on to the program, because we're going to have a pretty interesting program. And you know, I was speaking to my technician a while ago and saying it's a pity that we still can't manage to get our phone line up and running, because I know this is a, well, not from our standpoint, a controversial topic, to be Dutch or not to be. And the reason why I posted that topic is based on the newspaper article that came out today on the front page of the Daily Herald that says, Dutch Parliament ignores overseas colleagues' wish. You know, and yeah, it is something that we look at here probably on the islands as just a station passe, something that is just simple. We're not paying it much mind, but trust me, this is the level or the height of discrimination, racism, right? And simply seeing how colonialists think. Now, I saw a very good friend of mine today, and she said, when are you going to bring on my dad? When is my dad going to come on the program? And I said, soon. I'm going to try to arrange to get on the program Sunday coming on Hard Talk, Jose Lake Jr. So we could talk about this issue more in depth, and also the areas of independence. How do we look? How do we stand? But tonight I'm going to talk. I want to talk a bit, and I wish I had that dialogue with the listening audience where they could have called in and give their opinion, because we look at this situation and say, you know what? Leave they handle it. The question is, who are the they? They who? It is something very, very important, because it's either we are part of the Dutch kingdom and there's one Dutch citizenship, nationality, or there is not. It is simple as that. But anyway, good night. Welcome to the program. Call your friends, tell everybody to log on, because I'm going to be pointing out the nastiness of colonialism. I'm going to expose, right, the tactics of the Dutch. I'm also going to dig up, right, some of their murderous and treacherous ways. But today, because we are living in an open world, in a global world, if we should call it, where information is shared by the snap of your finger, information is reached by the snap of the finger, it's difficult now for the Europeans, the conquerors, the invaders, the colonialists, all right, to spread their evil ideology on the smaller islands. Now I know a lot of you guys will be frowning and saying, but I got a Dutch passport, and that is exactly the issue. That is exactly the issue. All right? Because when we look at the situation that they're talking about, what are they talking about? Let me read part of this article. It says, Dutch Parliament ignores overseas colleagues' wish. The Dutch Parliament's second chamber is disregarding the urgent appeal of the parliaments of Aruba, Curaçao, and St. Martin to postpone the handling, the visa law, and the law on Dutch citizenship until after the Dutch elections on September 12th. Chairperson Paul Cruz, Aruba, Ava Aegis, Curaçao, and Gracita Arenal St. Martin made their appeal in April 29 letter to the second chamber. However, the second chamber's permanent committee for international affairs and foreign affairs decided in a separate meeting on Thursday that they would not declare either law proposal controversial. But I'm going to take it back to another issue, and they're not going to declare the law controversial. This means that the handling of these law proposals can go ahead regardless of the pending elections. The article goes on to say, a majority in the Committee for Foreign Affairs, comprising the conservative VVD, party leader, and party PVDA, and Christian Democrats, party CDA, among others, not only ignore the wish of the overseas parliaments to hold off handling the visa law, but also protest of the Party for Freedom, PVV, Socialist Party, SP, the Democratic Party, D66, Party, and the Christian Union. Members of Parliament, Harry Van Bommel, was the only one to bring up the letter from the chairpersons of the overseas parliament. Now, the article continues on page 8, but I'm going to stop it here for a while because I want to show something, right, that we as a people need to understand. How they view us, how they see us. They don't see us as equal partners. Let us get that straight, first and foremost. That's not what they see. Okay? But I just want to show the difference. I want to show the difference in terms of how they look at situations when it comes to our rights. Now, the Parliament of St. Martin, okay, agreed with the proposal that the Minister of Justice brought when it comes to animals and the treatment of animals and games of animals and fighting of animals. However, a clause was made that cockfighting on St. Martin, right, doesn't cause harm to the animal. It's allowed. Now, it's a tradition here in St. Martin. Anybody who grew up on St. Martin in Rambo, they know about the cockfight. Anybody go down Savannah, they know about the cockfight. Soccer Garden, they know about cockfight. We bred cocks to fight. It's part of our culture, if I should say it this way. But what do you have? Here you have Dutch people coming here telling us it's wrong. It should not be done. Don't do it. They're going to the ombudsman and filing petition and protest to see if it goes against this constitution and that constitution. But here are the double standards with the Dutch. Up in Holland, you could write off a goat. You could write off a pig. You could write off a dog. You could sleep with it. Bestiality. You could hug it up. Okay? You could do whatever you want to do with an animal up there when it comes to sex. You can imagine a donkey riding them off and they're playing with a dog and riding off a dog. They can have sex with animals. But that's okay, that's fine. I ain't seen the animal welfare and animal our friends here going to them in Holland and telling them that those things are wrong. I ain't seen them telling them nothing that, look, listen, the Dutch citizen law and the visa law is discriminatory to these islands. No. But we having cockfight is wrong. It's bad. This is a double standard that the Dutch has when it comes to their position. Now, they could go and screw off and ride off and do all kind of things with animals, but we can't have our cockfight here. All right? So they bring in proposal, they bring in protests, they kind it to the ombudsman, they want to check the constitution to see if it's right and wrong. Cockfight is part of our culture. When are you got on, are you clumpers and are you walking up and down and then are you making these makeshift toys and boats and rolling down and jumping in the stream and in the pond? We don't say nothing about all your stuff. Zwarte Piet and those kind of things. I mean, are you arrest the young man because he had on a shirt? So Holland, you're in no position to come and tell us what we should do with animals. You're in no position whatsoever. And this is the problem I have with Dutch people. This is the problem I have with colonialists. This is the problem I have with these evil people that want to come to the Caribbean island and dictate how we should live. It's a nasty, filthy mentality and attitude that Holland has, that Europe has, that France have. They feel because they are big and mighty and strong, they can do what they want with us here on the island. This is the reason why I'm a proponent, okay, of independence. But we're going to get in that. That can be another topic, another discussion. I just get sick and tired of Holland feel that they can continuously use their double standards on us here in St. Martin. They tried it in Suriname. Everywhere the Dutch go, they leave a trail of blood. They leave a trail of anarchy. They leave a trail of separation, divisive community, okay, broken down economies. Everywhere they go, that's what the Dutch does. No, their new thing is not for us to be considered Dutch citizens. So we have a level now of citizenship in the Dutch kingdom. We in the Caribbean are called the Caribbean Dutch. That's the new thing that they're saying now, you know. The Caribbean Dutch, the Dutch Caribbean. So when you say you're from Aruba or Curacao or St. Martin, you're from the Dutch Caribbean. So which one is it, Holland? Den Haag, which one is it? Are we Dutch citizens or we are not? You can't want to have it both ways. A pregnant Dutch lady went into Curacao, 26 weeks pregnant, and the immigration officer decided to turn her back and tell her go back to Holland. Or you get upset. You want to hold a meeting about it. You want to know if the overseas secretary, Miss Spies, know anything about it because they sent her back. Huh? But the law that I don't want to postpone, you want to deem it non-controversial. Huh? You want to deem it non-controversial. Which one is it? Which one is it, Holland? It is time you stop these nasty, colonial, evil tactics that you continuously use around the world. We could dig up your history, and it doesn't fare very well for you. Holland started slavery. Holland encouraged apartheid. Apartheid is a Dutch word. So don't pretend as if you're all clean. You have the audacity to have the criminal court in The Hague because you're so clean. I get upset when I read these kind of things. When I read these kind of things, I get upset. Because you continue to treat us in these islands as if we are non-existent. As if you can do us what they want. Okay? Let me say something. It is for our leaders here in St. Martin to make up their mind where they are taking this country. And it's for us as a people to demand our position in this country. Okay? Where do you want to go? Well, this is my thing. Independence by 2020. Independence by 2020. Because it is the ultimate goal of any leader that lives in a colonial setting, that lives in an evil system, to forward their people to freedom. That's what it is. Many of you out there will have your eyebrows and your eyes open big. He crazy? We can't go here and we can't do it there. My question to that is, why not? Why not? It is for us to direct ourselves and our own destiny. Okay? Independence by 2020. Not the kind of independence that the former deputy prime minister asked for to had not that kind of independence. His independence because he wanted to do what he wanted to do. So I'm not going to substitute one type of colonialism for another. Because if his grandfather had us on a plantation, then he for sure will put us in a concentration camp. And that's not the independence I want. I want to be ruled and governed by my people, where the Constitution is the Magna Carta and the rule of law prevails. I don't want an independence where Holland dictates who and what we should be done. Okay? Good. I want to continue reading the article. Okay, I want to continue reading the article. Declaring the visa law controversial, the request of the Parliament of Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin should weigh heavily in our decision, he said. The Interior Affairs Committee D66 and CU and the Green Left Party GroenLinks tried to delay the handling of the law on Dutch citizenship. Up Netherlands schrijft, until after the September 12th election, but to no avail, because a majority didn't want to declare this law proposal controversial. The Parliament of Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin are objecting to the two laws in question. The visa law would curb the autonomy of the countries too much and hurt trade relations with countries in the region. The law on Dutch citizenship would make it no longer possible for Dutch citizens to have dual nationality, the PVV, has been fervent proponent of this law proposal because the majority doesn't want naturalized immigrants to have two passports. Now, let me stop it there. My person, me, Christopher Emmanuel, live on a country that one can consider the most unique island in the world. Because of its sheer size, we are shared, this rock, by two European countries, Dutch and French. I have a grandmother from Rambo, and I have a grandmother from Great Bay. I have a father from Great Bay, and I have a mother from Rambo. I was born on the French side. So I have two of everything on both sides of the island, equally meaning I too have dual nationality. But you see, that's not a Dutch issue. That's not an issue why the Dutch don't want to have that. Want me to explain to you why the Dutch don't want dual nationality? Let me explain it to you. In the 1940s, 1950s, after the war, when the Germans left because, well, they didn't really leave, you know. They invaded Holland. The Queen jumped on a plane and flew to Canada, and they threw up their hands in the air and they surrendered without a fight. But Europe needed to be rebuilt. What the Dutch did, right, was import a large number of migrants from Turkey, from Morocco, from Tunisia, from the northern part of Africa. They imported a lot of migrants. So that's the reason why you have a lot of Moroccans, a lot of Tunisians, a lot of Turkians. A lot of them are in Holland. Because Holland asked them, Holland brought them in to work to build back the country. Brought them in drones, in numbers. Okay? So it was good at the time to use forced, well, I can't say forced labor, indentured labor to build back the country. So after the fellas and them blood, sweat, and tears, and the little pittance that they was given to build back Holland, after they should have left. No, they didn't leave. They stayed in Holland. They multiplied, made children. They became part of the society. They learned the language, started going to school. That to this point now, you have a Moroccan mayor in Amsterdam. And that's the crux of the matter. Holland is seeing their way of life being invaded now, being taken over by these group of people. But you brought them to Holland. They didn't came on their own merits. They didn't, it's by your volition they walk in, they came to Holland, you invited them to Holland. So here this Moroccan mayor in Amsterdam now have dual nationality. So Holland want to force them now to choose. So by extension, that law going to spread throughout the Dutch kingdom. And that is what is unfair. Holland, if you have an issue with people that you brought to your country, then you deal with it and stay out of St. Martin business and leave us alone. Leave us alone. We didn't ask to be Dutch. You brought us here on a boat. So you have an obligation to deal with your responsibilities. This is the nasty ways and the nasty way that Holland thinks. You brought the people and them into Holland. You brought them into Holland. Okay? It's just like when you went into South Africa, impose your own way of life, Afrikaans. Huh? 5,000 people want to rule 21 million people in Africa, in South Africa, and I don't find anything is wrong with it. Or you slaughter thousands of people in South Africa, and I haven't seen not one Dutch responsible brought to The Hague for criminal charges. Not one. Not one. Who was held responsible for the killing of Steve Biko? Everywhere you go, you invade one's country, you leave a trail of blood, Holland. But now you want to, you're forcing us with dual nationality. You made your bed. Den Haag, you made your bed. So because you made your bed, you have to lay in it. Let me continue the article. This law proposal brings great uncertainty for 1 million Dutch citizens in the Netherlands and a group abroad as to whether they will be able to hold on to their other passport. This is a vital matter for them, said MP Martin van Dam, who asked to declare the law proposal controversial. There is much fuss over this law proposal. Let's leave it to see the new second chamber, said Sadiq Caribulent, SP, who also wanted to declare controversial. The Committee for Interior Affairs decided to arrange a couple of hearings before handling the law. A plea by MP Cynthia Ortega Martin to declare controversial the law proposal to amend the Constitution for formalize the public entity status of Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba proved futile as well. This goes against the agreement that we have made to hold off on final status until the evaluation in 2015, she said. We should give the islands a chance to grow into adults. Besides, the people of the islands should be allowed to express themselves before we take a definite decision on the constitutional status in the Constitution, said Ortega Martin. Now, I believe this woman is on the right track. She understands what goes on in these islands. All right? We're going to continue. In an invited comment, according to her, this is another prime example of why the island should have a say in the second chamber. We have to listen more to them. Parliament will take a final vote on the list of controversial law proposal and initiative sometime next week. Now, I mean, listen, for me, it is straightforward. It's black and white. It's either we are Dutch or we are not. It's either or. It's either to be Dutch or not to be. But here is where we as a people and as an island comes in, and we need to decide what is it we want. Because in St. Martin, we have a terrible way of thinking. We want to be Dutch more than the Dutchman himself, and want to be French more than the Frenchman himself. When you tell someone that they ain't, I Dutch, I French. Seriously? Seriously? You Dutch and you French? You're only Dutch and French because your ancestors were slaves. That's the only reason why you're Dutch and French. There's no other reason. The only reason why we hold, I ain't got it here. I would have bring my both passports and show. The only reason why we hold a Dutch passport or a French passport is because our ancestors were slaves, were a commodity. Okay? They were considered things. The word that they use in the history books is called chattel. A chattel was considered to be nothing different than a bag of salt or a bag of sugar. So a human being was considered, you wasn't considered a human being. You was considered like a commodity. Like a commodity you was considered. Okay? So just like how they would take a bag of sugar and pack it up and pile it up, same thing your ancestors were. They had no rights. Their rights was the slave master's rights. Nothing else. And that is what we need to be reminded of. Up to this present day, Holland and France hasn't apologized for the greatest genocide and atrocities that was committed to our forefathers, our foreparents, and today, our living standard in the Caribbean. Up to the day, they haven't apologized. So, you need to understand your history. That's the only reason why you have a Dutch passport. That's the only reason why you have a a French passport. No other reason. You don't have it because they like you. No. In this day and age, okay? In this day and age, you only have France, Holland, and England that still have colonized islands in the Caribbean. Still have them. But you're talking about it's not controversial. You can't have this. Make up your mind, Holland. It's either you want to continue having Dutch citizens in this part of the region or you don't. And you're not having it there because you respect the islands and you feel that we are one. It's only because of your position. It's only because of your, what was it that you used in the newspaper at the time when you had the three entities? The Dutch presence in the Caribbean. So my heart goes out to Bonaire, Saba, and Statia. Because the Dutch controls those islands now. And this is one of the reasons, why I am adamant on the right of students to vote. I'm adamant on the rights of students to vote. Because When we go to Holland, we inscribe, we have to write out. So because we're going to study, we are being penalized by taking away our rights. And why is that? It's not because it is something that is wrong or something that needs to be done. It is simply because the Dutch don't want you to be collecting two types of benefits. They don't want you to be collecting benefits in St. Martin, and they don't want you to be collecting benefits in Holland. That's the only reason why. There's no other reason. There's no other reason. But that issue that I'm talking about is not a Dutch issue. It's a St. Martin issue. We and the parliament here in St. Martin have to change that law. Because Dutch people in St. Martin can vote come in September. Dutch nationals from Holland, Mokambas, can vote in Holland for the Tweede Kamer elections. Huh? But our students in Holland can't vote for elections here in St. Martin. Our residents in Holland from St. Martin can't vote here in St. Martin. Because if we had the choice to vote as students, I know me for one, would have never wanted the Netherlands and Antilles to separate. But we never get a chance to vote because we were written out. We was in Holland at the time. All those referendums, we couldn't partake. We couldn't vote in them. And because of that, we are living this system today. So here we are living something that we didn't have no voice or no part of. We are living it. And we have to accept it. But we couldn't vote. And those things are wrong. So I'm saying to St. Martin Parliament, get your act together. I will be bringing that proposal. I will be bringing that law. Okay? The talk is, why only the students and not everybody else living in Holland? My objective is for the students. If the members of parliament want to add and take out from the proposal or the amendment, that's fine enough for them. They have to work it out. But I know when I was a student in Holland, I couldn't vote in neither referendums. None whatsoever. But here we have the Dutch going to make decisions and laws for us that we have to live by. We need to get our act together, St. Martin. We definitely need to get our act together. So the question is, to be Dutch or not to be? Not to be Dutch Caribbean. Not to be Dutch overseas. Or part of Dutch. Is either we are Dutch or we are not. I prefer the latter. So everybody who want to be more Dutch than the Dutchman, or more French than the Frenchman, fine and good for you. Me, Christopher Emmanuel, I am a St. Martiner. 2014, that is the name. 2020, that is the name that should be flown on our flag and on our passports. And who don't like it? Like what we used to say in Holland, pech. Because some point in time, we need to charter and choose our own destiny, where we want to go. This is something that St. Martin people need to decide. And we need to decide on it quickly and fast. They're going to keep imposing laws on us that we have to live with. Laws that are discriminatory. Laws that are racist. Okay? And Holland don't have a good track record when it comes to dealing with colored people. They don't have a good track record. They're in no position whatsoever, okay, to talk about who should be so and who should be not. Because everywhere they go, and we can take a prime example, what happened in Suriname a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago, with Desi Bouterse when they voted for him and a few others, amnesty for the coup that went on in the 80s. And the Dutch is upset. The Dutch is vexed. They're going crazy. But let me ask you something, Holland. Who were his advisors? Who were the ones advising him as what to do and what should not do? It was you, the Dutch. You, the Dutch. Okay? What we should do as St. Martin, Curacao, and Aruba, I'm sorry that I have to leave Sabre Station, Bonaire out, but as a matter of fact, I'll bring all of them in. What we should do as these islands is take the Dutch to court. Take them to court and ask them for reparation for the way they treated our forefathers, our ancestors that have us here in this place today. The treatment that they received at the hands of the Dutch. Because let me say it here, colonialism is evil. That is what we should be doing. We shouldn't be sending a letter asking them to postpone or put aside any controversial law. No, we should be taking the Hague to court. That's what we should be doing. Taking the Hague to court. Start making them pay for the atrocities that they committed on our islands to our forefathers, our ancestors. We simply can't let them get away with it. Because all the Jews in Holland and around the world have a famous saying, never again. And they, in Israel, get reparations from Germany. But what is it that we are getting? When we go up to Holland and we are on student loans, we have to pay it back. EBG sending you letters left, right, and center. Pay it back. But that's our money. It belongs to we. You have no natural resources, Holland. You have no natural resources. Everywhere you go, you plunder the coffers of the country. You steal gold, you steal silver, you steal land, you steal lumber, you steal coal. Everything you go, you steal it. Now your hands are on the Sabre Bank. You are some of the best pirates in the world, robbers and thieves. So from the sweat and the tears and the blood from our ancestors is what have your economy the way it is. I'm not being racist. I'm simply talking the truth. History says it. And this is the reason why you in Holland is in a favorable position today, and we are in the position that we are in because of what your ancestors did back then to my ancestors. So I'm not talking about the present Dutch people today, but what they have to do is ask forgiveness and apology to us for what their forefathers and parents did to our forefathers and parents. That's the reason why the Dutch is in the position today, because they exploited everywhere they go. Do your history on Indonesia. Look at the history in Suriname. Ask the Surinamers here in St. Martin how the Dutch was ravaging that country. All the gold and timber and silver and mine and ore, they were scraping it out of Suriname, building up their coffers. And that's why they live in the standard that they have today, because of exploiting nations where they went. Now, St. Martin, we don't have gold, we don't have copper, we don't have oil, we don't have lumber, we don't really have any natural resource. But I'll tell you what makes St. Martin the most favorable island in the Caribbean, especially to Europe, France, and Holland, as to why they will never let us go. Want me to explain it to you? Because I bet you many people don't know what it is. You don't know why the Dutch and why France, they so want to keep us in their grasp. You know why? Our geographical position. We are positioned perfect in the Caribbean. We are located very, very unique for them. Our geographical position is what have France and Holland holding on to us. You see? And that's the reason why they don't want to let us go. That's the reason why. So when you're talking about who is Dutch and who is not, look at your history, Holland. Look at your history. You don't have a good track record. And I'm not making no apologies for what I said here today. But then it comes back to we as a people in this country. Because we treat each other just as worse, or even more worse, than how the Dutch treated us. We treat our own people worse. So we need to check ourselves. All right? I'm working on some video, some shots about the causeway. Yeah, I'm always on the causeway. We are taking some pictures to show how these guys or the contractors are steaming ahead. And while they are steaming ahead with this illegal project, our now government seems to be a bit soft, seems to be a bit laid back. I'm bringing that issue up because when they were in opposition, and you ask anyone of them about the cause, well, yeah, it should stop. It's wrong. It's a bad project. The priorities are out of whack. We're spending too much money. But now that they're in the governing position, this is the rhetoric and the talk you hear. Oh, we are looking into it and seeing what kind of contracts have been signed to see if we can stop it or not, and to see how far. Now that to me is hogwash. Because if you were still in opposition, you would have been belting and backing and saying all kind of things as to why it should stop. But I'm going to give you guys time. But while you're sitting on your laurels taking your time, they're full steam ahead doing what they're doing in our lagoon. Our lagoon. And you know what pisses me off? What gets me real upset? It's just one man that did it, you know. And then you got stupid people putting things in the article about don't bite the hand that feed you and the goose this and goose that and Theo got vision. What's the name of this dude who writing these stupid things in the newspaper? I mean, after all, it's his opinion. Okay? One person. Wait a minute, man. And then Dave Livingston and Saber want to come and tell me that I causing a division in the country when I say, well, who do they think they are? Yes, Dave. Who do they think they are? One person. Listen, Sunday. No, I would like to get the gentleman on Sunday. But maybe Monday, God spare, I got to do that program where we took pictures of the salt pond. How it was before, how it is today. With the sand inside of it. Okay? The dump. We have pictures of it. The causeway that is coming. The lagoon. What they are doing to it. Okay? I want you guys to see these pictures. I want you guys to see these pictures. Because we are sitting back. Where are the environmental groups? Ruben Thompson, I'm not hearing you. Yadira Vane, what is going on? Where are you? Where are you? Don't come and tell me nothing, Yadira, about cleaning up Mullet Bay anymore. If we can't talk about this causeway issue. I'm not hearing the environmental groups. We can't pick and choose what environmental issues and topics and aspects we want to attack. Can't pick and choose. Environment is environment. Anyway, I believe we have down to the last couple of minutes on the show. I'm going to try my best to see if I can get in Junior Lake on Sunday so we can talk a bit about independence and the current situation in the country, the political situation in the country, and how things are looking. So I'm going to try my best to get him in on Sunday. And like I said, we are still working on this phone issue, trying to get it hooked up. But I want to thank each and every one of you guys for logging on and tuning in. I know you guys also like the topic with Telem. I'm working on Telem still. I'm even going further. I'm going to attach cable TV to it because I'm getting some information from cable TV. I still have the tape, but you'll be hearing more from me. And I met some friends today, well, not friends, but some individuals that said, oh, you're the guy on the program talking about Telem. And they said, boy, you brave, you ain't afraid? No, I'm not. And you shouldn't be scared or afraid either. You shouldn't. Because what I'm doing here, I'm doing it for my children and my grandchildren. At the end of the day, they're going to say, well, my dad stood for this. What are they going to say about you? What are your children going to say about you? So, man, people, take care of yourself. God bless each and every one of you. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself for the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Want to see you back here on Sunday. Goodbye.
My loving is the way to go. My loving is the way to go. Well, on the way the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Oh oh, when they roll with a player like me, with a brother like me, girl, there is no other. No need to talk it right here, the spark it right here, keep it undercover. Come in love.